we just have to, love the person for who they are and educate ourselves with this disease. It's not something that it's very common in our African setting.
Welcome to the show. I am your host, Anya Fambat, and I spark the hard conversations that challenge questionable cultural and societal norms that threaten the well-being of the African community. And I also share stories about growing up as Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. I strongly believe that normalizing open discussions and sharing experiences, whether good or bad, will not only make you find your voice, but will broaden your sense of purpose and empower others to do the same. So if you have ever tried challenging certain African cultural and societal doctrines, or if you have ever felt like it is about time that we confronted these issues in our African community and do better as a people, or even if you have always been interested in learning about the experiences of other Africans growing up in Africa and the diaspora, then you are in the right place. Welcome to Living African. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Living African podcast. Today, we will be talking about a very important and interesting topic, and that is being a caregiver to an Alzheimer's patient. Basically, we're going to be talking about the realities that, caregivers for Alzheimer's patients face. Now, Alzheimer's may or may not be known or at least as popular in our community, either because people really don't want to talk about it or people are just trying to hide it from, the community other members of the community. Today we have Vivian Ngang here who will give us perspective and insight on those struggles about giving care to an Alzheimer's patient, and that will be based on her own experience. Now, I call her Aunty Vivian because, I've known her for so long and she's aunties to my very good friend. And Aunty Vivian has always been such a pleasure to speak with. And I really look forward to having this conversation with her and learning so much about Alzheimer's disease. And I hope that the listeners will do the same. So I want to welcome you here, Aunty Vivian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the moment to have this conversation with us. And I look forward to learning a lot. Now, I just want to give a disclaimer before we start. We are not professionals. We both have a healthcare background, but we're not professionals in neurology or anything of that sort. So this is strictly based on experience, and we are not out to educate people per se because we're not professionals, but we're here to share experiences for people to get that inspiration or at least get some sort of perspective and then go and educate themselves about the disease and educate themselves about what it means to care for someone with that disease. So let's just get straight into it. Can you please introduce yourself to our guests?
Hi, everybody, and hi, Jabi. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I'm a great listener to this, and it's just an opportunity and a privilege to be one of those talking today about a very topic that is so dear and near to me, a topic that I've really experienced and is still fresh in my mind.
Right.
As we dive into that, my name is Vivian Ngang. I'm a registered nurse with a doctorate degree in nursing and a master's degree in nursing science. I am a clinical nurse manager in one of the hospitals or in one of the units at the Veterans Hospital here in Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. I'm married. It will be 25 years this year.
Yay.
I have 4 beautiful children and 1 grandchild.
Oh. Nice. Congratulations, Auntie. I'm super excited for you. I've kind of shared some of your journey when you had some of your babies, I think your twins. So, and we will talk about that in another episode because it's pretty touching and it's also going to be a very inspiring story that you're going to share. Now, let's talk about Mama Lucy, who was your mom, who was of blessed memory, and she was the one who had Alzheimer's. Can you just give us a background of and an introduction about Mama Lucy?
Mama Lucy, popularly known by the family and her friends as Malu.
Yeah.
She's my mother. She has 3 children. I have 2 elder brothers and I.
Mm-hmm.
She has other children that she inherited from her sisters that passed on earlier on. So she has a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. Mama Lucy is like the baobab in the family. She is the trooper or the go-getter. She's just who she is. She is that kind of a person that when she puts her heart into something, she will do it. She has been very influential. She has touched so many lives, and she had lived a good life. Unfortunately, Alzheimer's just came and took that away, part of it away from her. But so far, she lived a good life. She retired in 2004, 2005, and she worked at this Cameroon radio television. She started as a secretary and ended up as a journalist. So that's part of what my mom is.
Wow. Yeah, I have like some memories about her. You know, when we were in boarding school back home in Cameroon, she always came to visit her niece, who was my best friend, Kimberly. And, you know, we always looked forward to her visit. You know, Mama just had a way of making everyone feel welcome. You know, she just had a way of taking everyone under her wings, you know, like no discrimination. Everybody was her child, you know. So, I mean, you know, every family has one of those powerful aunties. Like, that's how I looked at her, as one of those powerful aunties who just demanded respect, you know. Now, what were some of your fond memories that you had with her, you know, even before Alzheimer's?
My mom raised us with a very strong faith. She was a disciplinarian. She would not want us to do the things that she didn't want us to do. My mom she'll confront some of my friends, the ones she would not want me to go out with them. She'll confront them and tell them, I don't want to see you with my daughter. So she's that kind of a person. She was very strict. And sometimes, honestly, she lived in Yaoundé and we stayed most of the time with our grandma in Bamenda. So when she comes to Bamenda, we all have to adjust.
Yeah.
Because when is she going back? So literally, our grandma raised us during the early part of our lives. And we're so fond of her. But when my mom comes over to visit us, we will just not, everybody was just scared because we didn't know what was coming after. She was such a disciplinarian. We used to call her Margaret Thatcher. So when she's around, we say Thatcher is around. So you have to adjust and be who you are.
Right.
Not only for us, her siblings too, where she was so tough with her siblings. I remember my aunt told me that even when she was in college, my mom beat the hell out of her when she started loving cream or maquillage or whatever.
Oh my gosh. My mom
said, no, you cannot do that. So she said she will never forget that time. The fun memories, I have a lot of memories of my mom because when my mom retired, 1 week after I had my twins, she came over to live with us. So there's so much memory. So my mom has lived with me for like 15 years now.
Yeah.
And it's just a blessing to have lived with her and enjoy that time that I had with her. Yeah. You know, she was basically the cook in the house. She was taking care of my kids. She would take care of she took my friends as if they were her friends. She would call their husbands her son-in-laws. Yeah. And she was just that kind of a person in the community that everybody liked her. Yeah. You know, it is what it is, but I still have those. I thank God for those memories. And I just thank God for blessing me with a woman like that I had to, you know, she raised me up to be a strong woman. Yeah. She raised me up to be an independent woman, no matter what. She raised us up, all of us, me and my siblings and my the other daughters that she inherited. Yeah. And we are who we are today because of our mom. And we give her the credit.
Yes, I can attest to that. Her cooking was always on point, you know. And even when you had the babies, I remember coming to visit and I saw her. That's the first time I saw her when I came here to America. So, and I think she also just came at that time as well, you know. So I can definitely attest to that. Now, what were the activities or what were the things that she really liked doing?
My mom, first of all, she served God with every ounce of her life. She sang in the choir. She was one of the best alto singers I could think of. She sang with the likes of Peter Isoka and all of that. They sang in the congregational choir in Yaoundé. She sang at the NBC choir in Bamenda. So singing was just, even during her dementia period, that was what was keeping her alive and just keeping her excited when she hears these gospel songs or whatever. So like I said, she liked that. She liked to travel. She traveled when she came to the US. She would travel all over to see her family. She loved her family so much. And she was that person that likes to gather the family together. When there's any problem, she will want to be the problem solver. She's always there for everybody. And my mom is that kind of a person that if something is at stake, she doesn't mind to step on your toes and go get that thing done and then come back and say, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's why some people really didn't like that aspect of her, but she was just who she was. And because I knew who that aspect of her, because there's so many things about her that I carry around with me right now. But I think I see that part as I mean, if something is at stake, you have to go get it done. Some people might not like it, but she was just that trooper in the family that it's just like a piece of everybody left us and just went away, because we always run to her for things that are really crashing up, and she's that man that she'll be the one that will always be able to bring out a solution to a problem that we always had. But she loved to, like I said, she loved to travel, she loved to cook, she loved her grandchildren to death. And that was just a blessing to her. She was all around us, and that was one of the reasons when she was here, she really didn't see any need to go back home, because she was among her kids. We were all here, and all her grandchildren were here with her as well.
I would only imagine. Now, she was basically the caretaker for your kids, and she was like that strong support system. After I've had a daughter, I wish my mom was here. I mean, she cannot be here all the time just because she's working back home in Africa. But honestly, we tend to underestimate the value of help that we have, regardless of who is coming from. Because especially with the schedule in this country, it's like almost impossible to have a full-time job and not have additional help to take care of kids, So I can only imagine how much of an essence, like how much value she brought to the household, just her presence. But now, what signs did she show, or how did we even come about the diagnosis of Alzheimer's? Like, when did things start, getting different?
Usually she started forgetting a lot and more often, but I took it like, what, we always forget, it's part of life. But some things she'll forget, I guess I was in denial, Jabi. I think I was in denial because my daughters were very close to her, especially Abigail was like the closest person to my mom. She could blink and tell you what my mom will do the next minute. And my mom, that was her favorite grandchild. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So when she started, Abigail will come and tell me, Mom, Grandma is reading pictures on the wall. She's talking to people on the pictures. She's doing stuff and all that. I just tell her, I say, get away. That's not my mom, because I know who my mother is. So I keep telling, she will come, my nieces will come like, Auntie, Grandma is, I said, no, that is not her. Because when I go back and I ask, I say, Ma, I hear you're reading pictures on the wall. You're talking to pictures. Is that right? She'll be like, how dare them say you that kind of a thing? That's a lie. And so I usually take it with a pinch of salt, like, that's not my mom. So this day I came back home. I saw the dining table all set up, all like she was expecting somebody, or we're going to have a good dinner or whatever it was. So when I asked her, I'm like, Ma, what is going on? Because I call her Ma. I said, Ma, what's going on here? Did you cook or are we having? She said, oh yeah, I'm having, some people are coming over. I said, who are they? So she showed me a book, Medicare people pictures and showing some pastors. These pastors are coming. I'm like, I don't know these people. Who are they? So I said, Ma, you're confused now. What is going on? So that is when everything dawned on me. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. So I said, Ma, do you realize this is a picture? She said she just tried to cover it, because that's one of the characteristics of Alzheimer's. Like the early stage of it, they'll try to cover stuff up. When you catch it and you want to ask them, they'll be like, it's all right, I'm fine, it's okay. Just to cover stuff up, just to make you not to understand that they're forgetful or they're doing stuff. So I brought my husband's picture. I said, do you know this person? She said, of course, that's Francis. I said, can you talk to him? Can he talk to you? He said, no. So I realized something was not right. So I quickly called her primary care physician. I said, I need to bring my mom in. She's behaving some ways. She's forgetting a lot and she's starting talking to pictures. So she said, bring her in. So I took her in and she did the mini mental state exam. That's one of the first exams they'll do for if they suspect that you have Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever. And she failed all of that.
Oh my gosh.
When she failed it, the lady said, Vivian, I'm sorry to say, we have to start running some tests. We have to do an MRI. So she immediately put her on Namenda and Aricept. So I told my brothers, I said, this is what we are facing now. It is not good, but we have to, So we did all the tests and MRI. And so they finally diagnosed her with Lewy body dementia, which is a degenerative. Dementia generally is degenerative. It takes its course. It's not curable. The Aricept was just not even to cure it. It was just to slow the progression. So she was on that, and things just it wasn't, I felt like the thing was not working because from then on, things just started getting worse. She would just get up from the house and just walk away. We'll start looking for her. I remember one time I took her to the store and she told me she wanted to use the bath. No, I told her I wanted to use the bath. So by the time I came out, she had left the store and just
Oh my
disappeared.
gosh.
So I freaked out. I called the police. We were just talking. And by the time we found her way, way, way somewhere away. And when they brought her back, she saw me and she said, "That's my daughter." I said, "Ma, what's going on?" So while we got into the car, she broke out and started crying. I think she realized things were not going right. She said, "Instead of putting you through all this, I might as well die." I said, "No, ma, you can die on me now. It's not that worse. I'm still here. I'm here to take care of you." So I constantly reassured her that I'm here for you. No matter what, I will always be there for you. So like I said, it just kept progressing. There were so many instances that she got lost. One time she went to visit my cousin in Maryland. She got lost for 3 days, Chubby.
Oh my gosh.
3 days. And one of the third day was the Mother's Day on the Sunday.
Oh.
That was our Mother's Day gift. It was a horrible situation. My cousin had just left the house and left her. She said she was watching a Christian channel and she let her just to rush to the store and pick up something. She just got up and left. So we started looking and somebody had seen her walking like in a highway and picked her up, took her to the police station. My mom is very eloquent. She has a strong power of English. So when she went to this police station, the way she spoke, they didn't see anything wrong with her. She's like, "Why are you keeping me here?" The lady said, "You're right. I don't know why I'm even keeping you here." So they released her. They let her go. And while she went now, she started wandering again. Somebody will stop her like, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm looking for my 13-year-old daughter." She's talking about Abigail. So I guess one good Samaritan, I would say, or when somebody just picked her up and took her to the hospital. So while she was in that hospital, that's when we started looking. We did flyers. We posted it on radio, TV, everywhere. It was a nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
But thank God, while we started posting it on a different WhatsApp groups and all that. I think somebody that works in that hospital saw it and knew my cousin Kenneth and called Kenneth and said, "I saw this lady in the hospital yesterday." So Kenneth and my brother quickly left from here, flew into Maryland, and then they went to the hospital and found her. So, at that point, that was when everything just went down because how can you bully for 3 days? You don't see your mom. You don't know where she is.
I know. In a different state.
The whole of that weekend, it rained so much.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just crying. I said, maybe she was carried away by water or somebody must have taken her or she was killed. All I was begging God. At the third day, I said, "I just need to see my mom's corpse. I just need to bury my mother. Please."
Oh my God.
If she's gone, just show me where her corpse is. Oof. And while I was praying, one of my cousins came to my house that Sunday afternoon with all of her kids. She has 5 children. They were all praying and said, "Grandma, we need you back." And immediately she left, they called me and said, "Oh, they found mom. They found mom." I said, "Where? Alive or dead?" They said, "Alive." So I went down on my knees. I was just thanking God. I said, "Well." So finally she came. We brought her back to Michigan, and it started becoming, I would not say a burden, but something that we had
challenge.
to Yes, a challenge. Thank you. We had to rearrange our lives. We had to rearrange everything.
Lock the doors.
Exactly. Oh. My brother had to come and do all of that, change some locks and lock the doors. I had to put security cameras just so, we don't lose her. And that's how our life just went down. And well, you know what? In all of this, I keep telling my brother it was a privilege for us to have taken care of her.
Yeah,
we did that with so much grace.
It was an honor.
Yes, so I don't regret it. I don't doubt it, and I thank God that I'm in the field that I am. That I did the best that I could.
Yeah,
at that time for mom.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. I cannot imagine the mental stress that it had on you guys and even on her, because it's just like having your family member getting lost like every couple of weeks or every couple of days. Like that is so traumatizing. That is extremely traumatizing. It's like going through the same thing over and over and over again, Now, I want to give our listeners perspective on how fast, or at least a typical example of how fast this disease progresses, right? So let's give a timeline. So when she started showing those signs and symptoms, what year was that?
That
Or
was
at
in
least what month?
2018.
2018. Okay. And by the time she was diagnosed and, she started getting really lost and stuff, how long afterwards was that?
2019.
2019.
About a year after.
Wow. Okay. So how, in addition to those changes that you guys made, right? How did this disease start progressing to the point that, you guys had to make certain drastic decisions?
All right. When she finally got diagnosed in 2018, when we started seeing all those changes, I told my brothers, I said, you know what, let's give her flowers when she's still alive. We have to celebrate her life because at least she can still remember some stuff now. So in 2019, we had a huge celebration for her where family from all over this country came in and we celebrated her. When she came back home, thank God she realized, she remembered all of that. When she came back home, she called the three of us and said, you know what? When I die, you guys don't have to do anything. You guys have celebrated me. It's like I got married, I got celebrated, it was a huge celebration, which I think that's what we should always do as children to appreciate our parents. We shouldn't wait for them to die before we do the befitting burial that we always see. I guess that was her befitting that we could give at that time. So after we did that, things started going down and we decided one of the things that she kept always telling me, I want to go home. Sometimes, a lot of times she'll pack her things and put them in the hallway. I have to go. I will get into her room, take hours, repack them unpack her bags, hang her stuff and all that. Before I get back from work, everything is back in the bag. So I told my brothers, I said, let's give her that opportunity. Let's send her home. Let her go to see her sister, see her siblings, see her house, the house that she was building. She started building the house and we're going to complete the house so she could move in. That was the plan at that time. But because she started exhibiting those traits and getting lost and all that, I told my brother there's no use for us to do anything because she wasn't even going to live there anyway. And her house was closest to a highway. And I was telling him, I don't want her to get up and go I would prefer my mom to sleep on the bed and die than to be hit by
a car.
So I told them, I said, let's send her home. Let's her go visit for some time and then we'll bring her back. So we took that decision. 2019, early 2019, I think, after that diagnosis, we sent her home, had a nanny. She went and stayed with my aunt in Limbe for almost a year. She stayed there and I started missing my mom. I told my brothers I need her back. So we went home and brought her back. So one of Monday, my aunt was traveling back to the US. So we had to buy a ticket for them to travel. So they traveled. My brother flew from Michigan to go pick her up from Maryland because they landed in Maryland. They had to spend a night there. From there, then they'll fly the next morning. Unfortunately, they arrived. They took pictures, sent us pictures. We greeted on videos and all that. And then when they slept that night, she got up, got confused, didn't know where she was, and then she fell off the staircase. She fell from upstairs all the way down. So my brother said when he got up, found her there, bumped everywhere. But he said he didn't want to take her to the ER immediately because their flight was that morning. And, it's out of state. We didn't want to deal with all of that. So they boarded the flight, landed in Michigan. I went to the airport to pick her. Oh my God, her face was swollen. Everywhere was turning. I here and there. I'm like, Ma, what is going on? So my brother said she fell. So I took her straight to the hospital, to the emergency. And unfortunately, that time was during that COVID time. Everything was going on. So she was admitted in the hospital. My brother, that's the hospital where my elder brother works. So they did the best they could. And then things just started going down. My mom, from that 3 weeks that she spent there and went to the rehab, oh my God, she ended up becoming incontinent of everything. But she wasn't that before. So because she would lay in the hospital bed and say, I want to use the bathroom, they'll say, pee on yourself, we'll clean you up. So she became comfortable doing that. So by the time I brought her back home, that was when everything broke loose. But hey, I said, I'm a healthcare professional. My middle brother said, I've never done this before. I said, we all will learn it. We have to do it. So we came home with her and we started taking turns to, take care of her needs, her physical needs. And it became a little overwhelming for all of us because we work and all of that. We had to readjust a lot of stuff with the kids to going to school. So we decided to hire some help, come home. and work like for 8 hours when we'll be out of the house. And then when we come back, we can take over from there. But my mom felt so violated. That was something she never wanted or thought would ever happen. So she will fight you to the last. She will beat you up and hit you when you want to touch her. And you know she's wet. She has everything going on. You want to clean her. She will not let you. Just because she didn't want us to. I mean, she's children trying to clean you up, you know?
Yeah.
So these girls will come. The first one came, will not stay like, your mom is too aggressive. The second one came, I'll come back from work and see my mom still lying in her poop and pee and all that. Like, why didn't you clean her? She will not let me. The third one, so we started having, I told my brother, no. With that, I'm not gonna deal with that. We have to draw a schedule. We all have to take turns and do this. You know, this is our mother. It's not working with these girls coming in here. It's not working. So we did that. My elder brother really was of the opinion that we should go keep her in an assisted living where we can go there and, you know, and take care of her and just so we can have a life too. But I really didn't like it because I've worked in those places and I know how they treat people. And especially my mom fighting, they would just abandon her or they'll give her medications to knock her to sleep. And I just did not want her to go through all of that. My other brother said that is a dead zone right there. So it was like differences in decisions.
I know.
So we decided to, I think in August of 2020 when she got here, my niece was getting married in New Mexico. We all had to go for that wedding. So I told them, I said, okay, let's do a trial. Let's send her to an assisted living for a week and see how they'll manage it. If they manage it well, then I'll think about that. So we did it. We put her in one of the ones that is like very close to my house so I could pop in and pop out and see my mom. So we left her there, went for a week. When we came back, I just went there unannounced. Just went there to see my mom because immediately we arrived, dropped my stuff. I haven't seen my mom for a week. So I went there. Man, the condition I saw my mom, oh my God. So the place is beautiful. The room is large, has everything you want to have. You know, when we went there and my aunts, they saw the place, I was like, this is the place to be. I said, you know what? I don't look at this building as it is. I want to see the care that they will give to her. That's what matters to me. So when I did that surprise visit, I just saw what I didn't want to see. My mom had been sitting on that chair, I guess, for the whole day. The TV was on another side. She was just sitting like with her hand, just looking so... I was like, Ma, what is going on? And I was there with my daughters. So I said, Ma, I could smell pee. So I said, get up, let me go change you. So when we got up, the diaper just dropped out of her tooth. And the chair she was sitting was soaking wet. I bust out and I started crying. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do to my mom? So I took her. When the girls saw that I had come in, they rushed over to tell me, oh, we're planning to come take care of her and all that. I said, okay. So I let them take her in. I thought they was going to give her a shower or just clean her well. But by the time I got in there, they were already putting another diaper in her. That's when I lost it. I said, you know what, you guys just get out of here before I cuss you people out, because at that point, I was already crying. So I gave my mom a shower. I realized she was almost having a stage 2 on her bottom. I'm like, hell no. I'm a nurse, this will not happen. So that's
and a stage 2, for those who don't know, it's like an ulcer, you know, from sitting for too long, right? Or just contact for being in a position for too long.
Yeah, for sitting for too long. And then when she pees and it doesn't help, it breaks the skin like really fast. So the next day, I didn't even let the next day. I just went to this nurse's station. I told them I'm taking my mom home. They'll be like, what? I say, yeah, just do AMA, whatever you want, against medical advice, whatever it is. My mom is not sleeping here one extra day. So we packed mom, my daughters and I, we packed her stuff and we took her back home. And, that was when, like I said, I have my cousins. Therese is in North Carolina. Blessing is in Maryland. They'll come in, quite often to relieve us, to help. Blessing will take like a week of work, come and stay with us while we can do other stuff for ourselves. The rest will come. They were taking turns and all of that. We had other family members that came in or they'll call just to, encourage us and just to give us the kudos for what we're doing. So when my mom started getting to a point where there were instances where my mom would not even recognize who I was. I would stand in front of her and say, Ma, this is your daughter. You're not my daughter. Get away from me. And she will hit me. Oh my gosh. I fall on her. I want to give her a hug. She will push me away. Oh my God. My heart was just so heartbreaking. But, I kept telling myself, Ma, I'm your daughter. The best thing you have to do to people like that, they don't mean bad. When they do like that. It's just a disease that is handling them. And there are sometimes, it's like they go in and out. So sometimes when mom is with it, you see her crying and apologizing. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I didn't mean. I remember one time when she beat me and blood was actually running out of my hand. I said, Ma, you just beat me. And I started crying. She said, oh, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said, yeah, I understand, Ma. You didn't mean to do that. You just have to, be in line with. I just put on my nursing cap on. Like, there were certain times that, like I said, there was a time that she beat me and, she broke my brother's finger when she was fighting. Like, all of that is just fighting to, I think, to maintain her dignity. Why are you people digging into me? Why are you touching me in my private part? Why are you cleaning me up and all of that? So there was a time, like, I was so scared to take her anywhere because I was scared of abuse, the way she was getting aggressive. Like, if she wasn't my mom, honestly, as a human being, you would think like when she hit you, you want to hit her back. But when I said, no, you can do this, that's your mom. We're taught never to do something like that. That's like a curse. So I would take every beating and just say, Ma, you just beat me, or you just hit me. Sometimes you say, yes, I did it. You can go and die. I say, Ma, that is, it was just so much going on. I remember my brother had to go to the hospital with his finger broken and all of that. And then my brother had so many scratches on his back, like you bend down, want to clean or whatever, he will be hitting and scratching. All of that happened, but we took it with grace. We still do that. People didn't know what we're going through, but we went through so much. But like I said, it's an honor that my mom, she single-handedly took care of us as her children, and she raised us well, I would say. So it was her turn to give back. I mean, change of roles, it happened, but it is what it is. And we couldn't have done less than what we did to take mom through this journey that she had.
Oh my gosh. Like, this is so heartbreaking to hear. Like, it's so heartbreaking because I can imagine the chaos that this whole experience brought to your family, to your mental health, to your emotional health. And when I even say family, like to your immediate family, like you and your kids, and then that's your household, and then with your brothers as well, because things like this could even break up families in terms of like, you can even get, if your brothers were not as understanding, you guys can even like have fights, because these are things that everybody's trying to bring in a suggestion like, oh, let's do this with her. No, let's do this with her. Let's do this with her. Because everyone is trying to preserve their sanity or preserve at least their lifestyle, that they're not necessarily having the same lifestyle as before, but at least just trying to have some kind of stability or some kind of normalcy in the daily routine. Because this is literally like something that if you really think about it, it's like if mama really had to get like the optimal care that you guys were expecting her to get, one cannot have a full-time job while taking care of her. And even if you're taking care of her full-time with all the aggression and everything, you probably need a break at some point, because it's not only physically traumatizing from the wounds and the blood and all of that, but it's so emotionally traumatizing to know that this is like your own mother who's treating you this way, or at least this is like a different person. You don't even know who this person is, but then you just have to stick it up because that's your mother, right? And she doesn't know what she's doing, and it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking on all levels.
It did break us a couple of times. Not a couple. So many times we had quarrels and fight with my brothers, but I stood my ground. I stood my grounds. This is my mother. I have to always remind them. Like, one of them will say, I'm busy or I'm traveling, I'm this. I said, no, we are all in this together.
Yeah.
We cannot do what we're supposed to do. Today is my day. Tomorrow is your day.
Yeah.
And we all have a life. I said, if it means us calling off, taking off work, sometimes we have to, because
we have to.
I take off work.
Yeah.
When I get ready to go to work, and there was one day I was getting ready to go to work. I came downstairs, she wasn't there. She had wandered out.
Oh,
so I had to call off
gosh.
work and go look for my mom. That's the most important thing. So I went out looking for her and realized that they never had called the police. And, and I went in there, they had already strapped her in the bed. And I said, please, this is my mother. I'm a nurse. Please don't take her. So they gave her back to me and I took her home. So those are some of the things that we went through with her. And it is what it is. We had our fights. Even taking her to home was not a unanimous agreement between the three of us.
Yeah.
But two of us realized that that was the best option for her. My other brother didn't really like it. He really fought against it. But I told him, I said, we are not taking her like we are dumping her or we are tired of her.
Yeah.
We just need her to go see her family and see it's not about us. It's about her and her own life.
Yeah.
So the better we come into agreement with this, the earlier the better for all of us. So we came to a final conclusion that, yeah, let's take her. Like I said, if we knew that she was going to die that like 3.5 months after I took her there, I honestly wouldn't have, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And actually, even before we go into the after effects of like, or just the whole experience from your own side, like in terms of how you handled it and how you coped and what the things you did to encourage yourself and all of that. Like, so when did you finally take her again back to Cameroon? Like what happened afterwards till her, passing?
We landed in Cameroon 1st of December, 2021. We stopped over at my aunt's in Limbe and then...
And what led to that decision finally of taking her back home?
We decided to take her back home because she was here. It's like she comes down, we give her a shower, she comes down, we feed her, she eats, and she watches TV, and everybody is doing their thing. I said, there's no interaction. Yeah, my other brother will come in, take her, they go out for a walk and bring her back, and they go. So, and then sometimes I'll come in the evening, we all have dinner, because usually we're all having dinner in my house. My brothers will come by, we'll have dinner with her. She loves to drink her glass of wine, we give, and all of that. So I told them, I said, this is not life for this woman, just sitting here and watch TV all day, and then we come in the evening. We have lived with her, we have enjoyed her. I would like for her, because the doctors had advised us to take her to her old environment where she has her friends and family, that might make it a little better or exciting for her. So finally, when we decided that, and it was a good decision we took, as much as I have that little regret in me, because when she went, I took her there and I stayed with her for 3 weeks. With the political crisis in Cameroon, she could not go to her house. So we rented a house upstation for her. We got 2 nannies that were there. Her sisters were staying with her on and off, and siblings, nieces, and all of that were coming. So she got to see even her aunt, her mom's sisters that came over, her cousins, her stepsisters, because we have this polygamous family. So she got to see all of that. And during the 3 weeks when I was there, she could remember each and every one of them. And I took pictures and videos and memories of all of that. So I think that was a good decision for her. But after I left, because when I went there, I had to get a neurologist in the picture. Yeah. I got to a primary care doctor, laid everything out, got a neurologist, and I had this neurologist come visit her at home every 3 weeks just to monitor her medications, monitor her state of things. And, and I told him we're nurse practitioners. My brother is a nurse as well. So we're working with him. No, I don't want this medication. I don't want this. So that's how we worked with him for the 3.5 months where mom was in the hospital with him. So he will come to the house and visit mom and, to give us feedback of what is going on, draw the labs and tell us what it was. So she had a good care when she was there. I hired 2 girls that stayed with her in the house of my aunt, just so you don't overwhelm them for what it was. So it is what it is. So, yeah.
Wow. And then you took her there and then she passed on like 3 months later.
3.5 months later. Okay. We landed on the 1st of December. She died on the 15th of March. Wow. So 2 weeks to when she will pass, I started realizing from the videos, because I'll call her almost every day. I started realizing she was deteriorating, and I was asking myself, should I go get her? But at that point, she was not able to walk. But she had a wheelchair. She was on a wheelchair. They could just pivot her and put her in bed, pivot her, put her there, take her to the bathroom. But she could talk. She not talk like fluently, but she could say, yes, no, I don't want this, I want that. So during conversations with her, I guess my mom she would not look at my face when I'm talking. She'll be looking at somewhere else. Ma, look at me. Why are you not talking to me? And all of that. But when I start singing, she would take the phone and just put it on her ear, because I sing well too. So she would just take the phone and I'll just keep going and she'll be listening. So that was her therapy. And I did everything. I'll post out songs, or when I go on YouTube, I get songs, I'll just send them to the lady that was taking care of her. Her name is Sandra, bless her heart. So that was what I bought this, whatever tape they do with drum drive. So I taped so many songs in there. That was what she was listening. And that was one of the things. And then she had pictures that she was looking at. And those are the things that the doctors recommended that will keep her, keep her mind sane, or whatever I'll call it sane, but will keep her going, or will try to, excite her. But I realized the last 2 weeks that I felt she was depressed, which I really should have put her on some antidepressants. But because of that aggression and all that, we gave her some psychotic medications too, which when she went back to Cameroon, and she was not really, she exhibited that once when she beat one of the girls, and I told her, I said, Ma, you cannot do this. I'm leaving you here, and if you do this, these girls will kill you. I'm begging you, because you never know.
Yeah.
You're leaving your mom with people, you just hired. They might, you don't know, if she does that, they will beat. I mean, she beat me until I was even thinking, I said, if you're not my mom, I'll beat you back. But, so when I said that day with a very stern voice, and I was almost crying, I said, you cannot do this. I'm leaving you here. I feel like putting cameras, but I don't want to put cameras, because if I see them hurting you, what else can I do? So it's like she heard that voice when I said it, and she calmed down. And since that day, she never raised her hand on those girls. So going towards that, I think 5 days to when she will pass, I had called that day before, and I would just keep talking and just singing and talking and singing, just to, keep a conversation going. The girl had told me she wasn't eating as much, and I was asking if they have Ensure or Boost or whatever for her. She could drink well. So it started, things were starting. I was like, what should I do? So my brother was thinking of just flying in to go visit her. So when I talked about the kind of food she had to eat, that night I dreamt about her. She came and met me in church in that dream. She met me in church. She was so sad. She sat in a position where she knew I was going to see her. That's my own description of what I saw. So when I turned around and I saw her, I ran quickly over to her, grabbed her, fell on her, and I started crying. I said, Ma, why do you look like that? You don't look happy. You don't look well. What's going on? So after that dream, I quickly got out of that dream, and I ran into my aunt's room and started crying. I said, I don't like the way I saw Mom in that dream. I don't like the way I saw my mom. I was just crying. My aunt started crying with me. So I took my phone and I called Sandra, who is the lady that took care of Mom. I said, I need to talk to Mom. So she put the phone on the video, and I saw her. I said, Ma, you don't have to come to me in a dream. What is going on? I don't like the way I saw you. But she would not look at my face. My mom's face was on the ground. I would say, Sandra, pick her face up. My mom would turn her face away. I don't know what all of that was, but it was what it is. So I cried. I talked to her, cried, and I said, okay, Sandra, I have to go to work. So came back, called again, and, we just kept going. And then the day she will pass, Sandra told me she had gotten up that morning, greeted her, took her to the bathroom, gave her a shower, put her on a chair, and they came back to the living room. She ate a little bit, and so she put on TV, and they were watching TV. So she just saw her slumped. She slumped on the chair. So she jumped up and said, Malu, why are you behaving like this? Are you okay? But she saw she was looking funny. So she quickly called me. I had just gotten into my office, and I saw that call. Usually she would text me or, send me a voicemail. But that call, I'm like, I don't like this call. So I quickly called her back. So when I called her on video, I'm like, what is going on? She said, Mama is not doing well. We're putting her I saw them putting her in a taxi, like trying to shovel her in the car. So I asked her, who are you with in the house? She said, I'm all by myself. I said, okay, drop the phone. I'm going to call my aunt. My aunt was downtown. She was going to the park to go to another funeral in Yaoundé. My uncle's mother-in-law had died. So I quickly called her. I said, and you can go. So just meet Sandra in the hospital. Sandra is on her way to the hospital. I called my daughter too. So they all went to the hospital. So in that state in my office, I was just like, oh my God, what did I just see? Oh my God, I pray my mom is not dying. So I quickly called my brothers. I'm like, we have an emergency here. They're taking Mom to the hospital. I don't know what's going on. So we started calling left, right, and center. So I went out of my office, tried to just take my mind off of that, came back into the office, and my daughter just called and put the video right on my mom's face. My mom had just passed in that car. So at that point, I was numb, so numb, just looking, like, seriously. So one of my colleagues came in and said, who is that? What's that? I said, that's my mom. He just passed. He's like, are you kidding me? So he ran and called my director, and she came in and just said, just pack your things and go home. So she asked me, do you have anybody to take you home? I lied. I said, yeah, I just did not want no distraction. So I drove myself home, missed a lot of exits and all that, crying and calling people, and just, that's where it finally dawned on me that my mom finally, So when I got home, she was still in the taxi there. So my daughter just put a video. I said, just hold it. I cried with her, cried on that video, but I was thanking her. I said, Ma, thank you so much for giving your life to us. Thank you for being our mother. Thank you. You might have died with whatever you died, but I don't define you with no dementia. I don't care what it was, but you were such a wonderful mother. You took good care of us despite everything. You sacrificed your life for us. And I'm sorry that you're dying. I'm not there. I always knew that you would die in my hands, but I never saw this coming. You know, I had like a good 5 minutes talk and cry with her. They just let the camera rolling. And I think I needed that time with her. I saw her lying there dead. So they called the doctor. They actually declared her dead in the car. I said, no point taking her into the hospital. She's already dead. So when I just need them to, confirm her, and then because they need all the paperwork and all that. So, and then from there they took her to the mortuary.
Wow. Yeah, it's I'm taking the story different because I knew her, and this is actually the very first. I feel like this is our moment that we're catching up, and I'm literally hearing about this, and it just breaks my heart, Auntie. I'm so sorry that you guys went through all of that. Like we had spoken off record, she is definitely resting. She's definitely in a better place. For someone who was so vibrant, someone who was so energetic, it's so unfortunate how a disease could literally change her life, change the trajectory of her life, and even your lives. I really want to thank you for sharing that story and for sharing your experience. I'm even thinking that a lot of people that were even close to you probably don't know that that's what you guys were going through. I really want us to go deeper into this conversation for you to give the listeners like a clear perspective of how this disease can impact a caretaker. Like I was saying, it must have caused a lot of conflict, interrelational conflict, even personal conflict, or, I'm sure there was some times that you were even doubting yourself, like, am I doing the most that I can? You probably were feeling guilty, when you had to make, I will not even say selfish decisions, when you had to make rational decisions, I mean, I don't even want to think about how that impacted your children as well, especially Abigail, who was like the closest to her. They were probably very young to even understand what was going on. That was the first encounter. When I was young, when I was like maybe 13, 14, I lost my grandpa. My grandpa had Alzheimer's, but he had other things. We always say he died from a broken heart because he died like 3 weeks after my grandma died. But the Alzheimer's was not that bad. It's not what killed him, for sure. It was getting worse, but it's not what killed him. And he was living with us, actually. He died in our house back home in Cameroon. But the memory that I had of him when I was a teenager, especially during his last days, the memory that I have of him when he had Alzheimer's, he also was very fond of just walking out of the house, and we were going to look for him like all day. But thankfully, we were living in a very small community, and it was in the suburbs, like really, really far away from the town. So it was very easy for someone to identify him, and my parents were well known in the community. It was very easy, like neighbors and people were always bringing him back home, But here in America, it's like such a huge community, and people, there's not that sense of community per se. Even if you have your African community, like you guys probably live like 45 minutes, 1 hour away from each other. It's not like it's a totally different setup here. So to have like a relative, especially with the craziness that's going on in our time and age, to have a relative just getting lost all the time, that is extremely traumatizing. It's like you can't even have peace of mind because you're either freaking out that your mother is nowhere to be found, or you were very, very anxious and nervous that she could walk out anytime. She could, leave at any time. So I can only imagine the struggles that you were going through with your family and even with yourself internally. So how did this impact the children and the members of the household?
It impacted us a lot. It did a lot of I'll call it damage emotionally.
Yeah.
Because the kids, like you say, Abigail was so close to my mom. When mom, like during the holidays where her friends will go get a job, at 15, 16, you want to have a job, but she would tell me, Mom, I can't have a job because I have to stay with grandma. So she was that part of grandma that, so when mom died, she took it really, really hard. That is the closest relative that had died. I mean, I have cousins and other relatives that might have died, but that was not close. That was not a close call for them. So this was really a close call for her because this is somebody, she always would tell me my grandma raised, which is true. The grandma raised her. So I remember when it all happened, when I left my office and I was getting into my car, the first person I called was my husband. Bless his heart. My husband treated my mom more than the way he would even treat his own mom. He was the one that would get up and make breakfast for my mom. He would be the one. But the only thing I told my husband not to do was to change my mom's diaper.
Yeah.
I said, I need my mom to maintain her dignity in that way.
Yeah.
You do anything for my mom, but no matter where I am, please call me. If she has a bowel movement or she's wet or whatever, I need to be home to change it. You cannot get into that part of my mother.
Yeah.
And thank God he heard it and he kept that to himself. So he'll get up in the morning. He's the one that will make my mom's breakfast, set it off for her. By the time we clean her upstairs and bring her breakfast, is all set. So I really praise my husband for that. He was into it. And then, when mom gets lost, we're all there out there looking. And he was, his mom too died similar, something like that, but he didn't have the opportunity to take care of his mom that way. So I'm really opportune to have had him around, had my children, we're all into it. And I usually will always call my kids and talk to them. That was my own way of counseling them and trying to encourage them. If I knew at that time, I would have taken them to some counseling, like professional counseling. And I think we all needed it at that time.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if you get into a situation like that where you feel like I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this anymore, you can, seek for professional counseling. But I thought I have a very strong family background. They were very, very supportive. So I thought in my own way, I really didn't need no professional counseling. But right now, going through all the emotions. So when we got back from Cameroon, that was when everything just dawned on me.
That's a reality.
My mom is not here.
Yeah.
Even her room right now, I've not even had the courage to go in there to clean or pack her things or put her things together.
Yeah.
Because I still carry that emotion. And what I've done now, which I know it's really eating me up, is I've cut down on my friends. I run away from people. I used to go to church, be very active, but I just hate the fact that I go to church and people start saying, "We're sorry."
Yeah.
Makes you start crying like a child. And so I've just distanced myself from a lot of people.
Yeah.
They said I've changed a lot, but some things happen in your life that makes
That's true.
Sometimes you feel like you're strong enough.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you have to even protect your own sanity because people don't know what you're going through internally.
Exactly. So sometimes when you go out and smile with people, they don't know what you come back and
deal with.
But it's all good. They mean well. It's not like they want to. And it's not only about my mom dealing with Gabby too, with a history of sickle cell. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
It was not an easy. I remember one time when Gabby was really, really sick, was in the hospital, and we had to deal with mom. I just called my brothers and said, you know what, I can't take this anymore. You guys just stay with mom and let me stay with Gabby. I cannot be hopping. And I still have to go to work. I cannot go to the hospital, have to come deal with mom, and then I go to work again. So, and during that time, Jabi, that was when I was going through my doctorate program.
Yeah.
How I did that, only the Lord knows. But if you put your heart into something and you pray, honestly, God will see you through it, because that is all I had. So many times I thought of dropping out, but I said, I've started this thing with so much loans that I've taken. I have to finish it.
Yeah.
I'll walk around everything that comes around me. My pastor used to say, what kind of woman are you? I said, Pastor, I'm the blessed one that God has created. So he has given me all this, but he has given me strength to go through it. So I have to go through it. I'm not going to disgrace my God.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do the things that, he has put in my possession. So dealing with Gabby with her own issues, and crisis is not easy crisis. It's crisis that sometimes you even cry, beg God for her to die.
Yeah.
But, dealing with that and then coming home, seeing your mom, my life was just like a wreck. But
Yeah.
I thank God that I was able to pull it through. Like I said, I had a lot of strong family background, cousins, uncles, friends who called or visit and all that. And so it kept me going. It's just now that I'm in that state, not in a denial state, but I'm in an angry state right now. Angry in the sense that I feel my mom, the things that I've been keeping away, that I was going to find out from my mom, or the things just to enjoy life after finishing school and just my mom. But I feel like that part of her life was stolen away from her.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to enjoy it. So I really hate to think about those 3 years because it's very traumatic. But I just want to remember mom for who she was.
Yeah.
The woman she was and how she raised us and the kind of way she impacted us. She took care of my friends' children, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of them, even in her will, I realized she's putting their names. That made my daughter take, do this to them, do that to them. That's the kind of woman she was.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's an opportunity to do what we did.
Yeah.
If I do it any different, I don't know. I don't know what I could have done because we basically did the best.
Yeah. No, you definitely did the best you could. And I just want to take a quick moment to really celebrate you, Auntie, because, yesterday I was talking to my husband about you, and I was telling him that I was going to interview you, and, I could not stop praising you. And I don't think I've ever really done that, because when you had your twins, I visited you a couple of times, and every time when I even went to Michigan, I made sure that I tried to stop by the house to visit you. You've been through so much in life. Like, sometimes I look at you and I'm like, I don't even know how you have done it, because you went through so much with your daughter who had sickle cell, and I believe back then Uncle was not even working in the country. You were doing it all by yourself and with the help of Mama Lucy, and to go through all of that. I mean, sickle cell is an ongoing thing, right? It's not like you just take meds and then you're done for life. No, like, you have to always brace yourself for the worst, but expect the best, every single time with your daughter. And, just the whole... In fact, I don't even only want to give you your flowers. I don't only want to celebrate you. I also want to celebrate even your children, even your husband, like your family. Because even having twins, there's a lot of sibling rivalry, right? And then you see one of the twins is like progressing, and then the other one is not catching up as much because of her health issues. You have to not only be strong for both of them, but you have to spend time explaining to the other one why she's, her sister is like this, or explain to the sister why, she cannot catch up to the other one. And then it's like you have Mama Lucy again, and then to take care of. And then, it's just, it's unbelievable.
Let me give you one more. Not only Mama Lucy, Mommy Angela was diagnosed.
Oh, yeah. And Mommy Angela as well. Oh, yeah.
But somebody said your house is like a hospital.
Right. Yeah, Mommy Angela had cancer as well. So, like, it's just like, oh, my God, when does it end? And you have all of those people to take care of, and then you still have to be a wife, you still have to be a mother, you still have to be a sister, you still have to be a student, a doctorate student. So it's just like, when do you even have time to even spend with yourself? Like, you just give yourself out all the time for all these years, and you're still doing that, So I just want to celebrate you. I want to tell you that you have totally done the best that anybody could do, and even more. God has definitely been your source of strength, because I don't think that could do all of that by yourself, And I just want to let you know that you're doing the best that you can, and you are doing it. You are such a trooper. Like, you are doing it with flying colors, and it's only you who can do it. Believe me, like, nobody else can do it like you. So I know that you are in that stage of grief where you're just mad at maybe even God, or just, you feel robbed from, you feel robbed, by, the time, by circumstances, and they have robbed you off of the time that you should have spent with her, or the things that you should have done. But I just want to let you know that you couldn't have done it any better, and I really hope that you can get to a better stage of that grief, and take it easy on yourself. Just, immerse yourself in the process, immerse yourself in the moment, and out of that grief, I hope that you appreciate Mama even more than you are. And you just appreciate, the reason for why certain things happen in life. As, it's said in the Bible, all things work together for our good, So I just want to applaud you. Now, I want us to highlight the stereotypes that especially members of our community attach to Alzheimer's. I don't think Alzheimer's is really being spoken about as much as it should. And a lot of people look at these old people. First of all, I remember they always call it OH. Oh, OH is bad. And then you have like even kids, for example, like even in our generation when we were growing up, you have all these old people with Alzheimer's. Either their families have just given up on them, or like they're just laughing at them like, oh, this crazy man again. Or they're just literally waiting and TikTok for them to die, And, to an extent, I probably would not even blame certain people, because it's from what you've said, it's not easy, especially with the aggression. It's one thing for them to even forget who you are. It's one thing for them to forget certain things. You can handle that. But when they start like even beating up the people or attacking the people that are meant to take care of them, it makes it even harder. It makes it even very harder. So I know that Alzheimer patients, once they start exacerbating their symptoms, or when their symptoms are exacerbated, it's like they become so highlighted that it overshadows the human behind that disease. They are now defined by Alzheimer's. And I really feel like we should try as much as possible, especially as a community, to maintain the human that we look at and not define them as based on their disease, So like, what do you have to say about that? And what were the things that you did to preserve the human side of Mama's life and not the disease part of her life?
When we finally got to know that she had that dementia and she started exhibiting all the signs and symptoms of it, I decided to keep her to myself. I didn't tell a lot of people. Because in our African community, the stigma, I wasn't scared about the stigma, but I just wanted people to remember my mom for who she was.
Yeah.
Not for what I was dealing with in the house, because she wasn't really bad, but sometimes people will come in and say, how did you say mom has dementia? No, she doesn't have. She could remember me. She could call my name and all that. I'll just laugh and say, just enjoy it at the moment, because you don't know what we go through when it's night or whatever. So it's just to enlighten people that it's not what defines that person.
Yeah.
It is just like you have headache, or you have high blood pressure, or you have something that you're dealing with. It's unfortunate. Mine came as a surprise, because honestly, I never ever I dealt with it in the medical field or see patients go through it, but it had never happened. Nobody in my family, so I didn't know where it was coming from. So I said, it started with denial, like, no, this cannot be happening to my mom. And when things started going down and I saw her really going down, and I just had to brave myself and said, this is what I'm going to deal with till the end of it. So let me keep myself abreast with everything. So I read a lot. I changed her diet. Everything I knew, learned that don't give this to a Alzheimer patient. Give them this. Things that I'll go online and Google. My kids will Google, Mommy, give her coconut oil, give her this. We're just buying anything to give her. The good thing is Mom had a very good appetite. So we started, well, like I said, when she started getting aggressive, we had to put her on those psychotic medications, which I really didn't like to put her there on them, but I had to, just to calm that aggressive part side of it, So we just have to, love the person for who they are. And educate ourselves with this disease. It's not something that it's very common in our African setting.
Yeah.
But now it's coming a lot now. A lot of parents are dying with this thing. I have 2 of my friends who are dealing with it right now. Actually 3.
Oh my
gosh.
When
Mom was going through it, they called me and said, Vivian, I'm dealing with that too. I'm like, what? Parents, you will never expect that will go down, but they'll tell me what they're going through. So it's like you're keeping it to yourself. You don't want, like I said, even to take my mom to church, people will be like, why don't you bring her to church? I say, you know what? She's fine at home. I'll put her online and she'll sit here and watch the church service. I was taking her away from the public, like I said, not so people would define her by that Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
Because she had changed. She would talk. You cannot hold a conversation with her because she would just talk gibberish. And I don't want people to look down at her like this woman is getting crazy and all of that. So that's why I kept her home all the time. If she has to go for a doctor's appointment, or I have to take her for a ride just so she could see get some breeze, or we go to the store. Sometimes I'll just hold her hand or put her in the wheelchair and just walk around. That's the way I was dealing with it. And when I took her home, I know when she died, most of her friends came, a few of her friends came and really attacked me, like, why didn't you tell me? I said, ma, you would not even have recognized her, or she would not have recognized you. What was the purpose? Like, towards the end, what was the purpose of it all? I just didn't see any need, and I don't want you guys to remember her for what she went through, but just give her that honor and respect her for what you know her to be.
Yeah.
So it is just a terrible disease. Like I said, it's progressive. It might start mild, it depends. And then it starts progressing to when it gets to the terminal one, where they don't talk anymore, they don't eat, they just sit and just look at the walls. You talk to them, they don't move, and all of that. Then they finally die out of it. So it's something that the family has to come together. Like I said, educate themselves about that disease, especially how to take care of. So it's very, very, very challenging. It's very challenging, trust me. And if you don't know how to do it, you'll get so frustrated. Like you say, they just abandon them and don't want to take care of them. And that's why some of them go on the street and they call them mad people.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that strong family background that can stand with you during that time and walk that journey with you, it's really sad to see some of our parents go through the things that they go through after they have worked all their life to raise you.
I know.
Then they end up like that.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's very unfortunate as well. It's like you work all your life, and then when you want to really enjoy the fruits of your labor, then something just takes you away. Thank you so much, Auntie, for sharing that. Now, what advice will you give to members of our community, those who are not really familiar with this disease, or those who are actually going through the same thing or a similar experience, or, those who are taking care of their loved ones who have Alzheimer's dementia?
Yeah, I think I'll advise them to seek for help. They have to definitely seek for help. Yeah, they might put them on those medications and all that, but seek for help those of us that have gone through it. I don't mind telling you how I managed mine, or who to contact, or what to do and all of that, or what kind of things to do to help them. Like I said, they need to seek, if you want to seek psychological help, if you really don't have that strong family background, like some people really don't, they're just managing it by themselves and trying to make ends meet, seek professional help. They'll walk you through the process and they'll, help you go through that. Or if you feel like you say you can't handle it, don't guilt yourself and don't feel bad like I was doing. I know it's hard to say you want to take your parents, being an African, to a nursing home.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But if you feel that it gets to that point where you cannot, sometimes you can even take them, like I did for respite care, put them for like a week and get some mental break, or just get some time off so you can refresh and recoup, and then get them back home, and then try to readjust so many things in your house. Like you have to, like what I did, we had cameras in the house. We had to change all the locks, like upstairs, coming down the stairs, I had to put like a board, like a door to lock it, like when we're sleeping at night, so she doesn't get up and fall like she did in Maryland in my sister's house. So there's so much adjustments that you have to make, and you have to always be on the alert. Sometimes mom will get up in the night, open one door after the other, you just have to go down and say, ma, let me take you back to your room, and you take her back to her room, and that's just what it is. And sometimes you say, mom, go to your room, where's my room? You have to always learn how to redirect them. And don't do it in a mean way. You have to be very, very, very patient. You cannot do it in a mean way, because everything
you aggravate them.
And then the things that they usually like to do before they got into this, they got themselves into this disease, or they went through this disease, try to bring those things out. Like I said, my mom likes singing. She likes, going looking at pictures. Her family was just her part of her life, and so we're all there for her. And I'll play music like we're not watching nothing else but just playing Christian music 24/7 whenever she was at home. And then I had to even put a bed in my living room, put a little bed there, so that if she's tired, she can rest there. I got recliner chairs for her, so wherever she finds, it was just what it was. And then when she started becoming incontinent, I had to now subscribe and start getting, supplies of all her stuff coming to the house. And it was just like, it was just like I had a baby in the house.
Yeah.
So just see yourself taking care of a big baby, and that's what it was. And don't feel like, oh, this is punishment. Why me? Yeah, there were some times I asked why me, but I took it with grace. I said, this is my mother. I couldn't have been anybody else. I have every right to take care of my mom, and I thank God that I had to. That she was not in Cameroon, that I could not reach her to do the things that I did for her.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the opportunity to bring their mom here. Some of them are home and they're sick, but seek for help, get somebody or pay somebody to, like I had to do. I spent so much money, which is not even what, if I could spend more to keep my mom alive, I'll do that. But I had to get a house, get a nanny, equip the house, did everything, make it comfortable, a house that has a fence so she doesn't wander around. I didn't want to put all of that on anybody, but all the intent and purposes of sending her home was to go meet her family and just enjoy the little time that she had left. To live. And that is what it is. So when I finally came to the fact that, I am not going to keep hiding this woman away from people. Yeah. I told Sandra, I said, you have to start taking her to church. So the week that we had agreed for her to start taking her to church, well, she took her to another church, but the Presbyterian church where my mom, everything she did in her life was. So when they registered her to start going back to church and start taking communion, she didn't make it up to that Sunday. So, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Auntie. You had actually mentioned about us as Africans, especially getting accustomed or at least used to the idea of like sending our family members to assisted living, or another thing I was also thinking, is also the whole idea of hospice. I feel like we as Africans, we shy away. We think, oh, you're sending your person to hospice, it means you're praying that they should die or something, or assisted living means that you don't care about them. But the way life is set up here in America, at some point we have to come to that agreement that, hey, this is what it is. If you had it another way, you probably should have been able to take care of these people, but unfortunately, if you want to still keep your job, or at least still, these are like rational decisions that have to be made, not with emotion, but just with rational thinking in order to, at least keep some level of sanity within your own family, and within your own life, or at least even have some kind of normalcy, because life could get really hectic here. And, a lot of people are suffering from that guilt that they will feel if they want to send their person to either assisted living or hospice and stuff like that, and I feel like that's actually something that I would like to talk about. I just need to find the right people to maybe the right experts or the right people that can give additional insight to those things, just to encourage our people to make use of those facilities or those services that are being offered,
Yeah. I think, like I said, I work on the hospice unit, and a lot of African Americans, not only Africans, Americans as a whole, they really do not like hospice, putting their patient on hospice care. They feel like, oh no, this is a disappointment. We didn't plan for this. It's like, so most of our hospice patients are the Caucasians, and the African Americans, they don't. And being a clinical nurse manager, I have to sit in some committees and some meetings with them. I used to ask them, like, why don't you want to put, oh, no, that's not our culture, that's not our this, we can do. So like I said, it's a cultural thing. The way we're brought up from Africa, like you said, they say when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do, right?
Yeah.
So, but we still have that spirit of guilt in us. That's what I had. That's why I could not even see myself put my mom in a nursing home. But in hindsight, maybe I should have done that for the 3 months that I had to take her home, and then just keep monitoring, or get a plan of care with the management in that place, and tell them this is what it is. I think I should have done that.
Yeah.
That's my little regret right there. So let's not feel bad that it's not a failure thing. Unless the failure thing will be like when you go dump them there and don't go back to visit them. That's when you fail them. But when you're there every so often, 2, 3, 4 times a week, to see them, make sure, take their clothes, clean them, go back there, feed them, even get lunch with them, spend some time with them, alternate and all that will make a whole lot of difference. Because I worked in some of these nursing homes, and honestly, some families just abandon their people there and they really don't come by. But that is not what we want for our loved ones. We should learn how to do that and don't have that guilt. So long as you're still an impactful person in that person's life. So let's not feel that way. And just like I said, the stigma that people feel like Alzheimer means you're crazy. Yeah, it just make a lot of Africans don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
that's true. My mom went through this, that I started telling people that my mom, you will not believe, mom has said, what? Mommy Lucy, dementia? How did that happen? He said, my mom too is going through it. So, that kind of a thing. I said, why didn't you say it? He said, Masa, that thing, I don't even want to say it. But we are in so much denial. Yeah. We are in so much, we feel like it's a shameful thing. It's like a tarnish in the family circle that we don't want to talk about it. No, we have to talk about it. We have to make others know that this thing is not only impacting you alone, it touches anybody. It can touch anybody, so that when, like, for instance, now my friend just told me, say, now dealing with your mom, I know that if anything happens to my mom, I'm calling you because you have so much, you have so much knowledge about this thing that I cannot even handle the emotional part of it. So it is what it is. So we should always learn to open up and talk with, not go spread it out in the community or announce it in the whatever that your mom has, but the important people that matter, people that will pray with you, people that will stand with you and for you, people that will advise you and tell you, or even just tell you that go apply for this service here or go apply for this here. Because my brother was trying to find out where we can take mom to, where these older people. I said, no, mom has dementia. You cannot take her to old people, where Americans or white people, where she will go sit there and don't even know who to talk or how to talk. I said, that's not a good environment for her. I said, I'll better leave her in this house than take her where she'll go there and become so miserable. Yeah. And, and that's just my own point. And like I said, that was the little fights that I was having with my brothers, trying to get what help we have to get for her. But being in the field, knowing what it was and how to deal, what we had in front of us, it prepared me so much for the unforeseen, the things that, even though things turn out the way it turned out, she became she became so aggressive. Yeah. But we handled it with grace. We took all the beatings and everything because she was our mom. But my mom too was a no-nonsense person. Yeah. Yeah, so that's true. I remember when I was telling her aunt when we went back to Cameroon that she was beating the hell out of us. She said, she was a no-nonsense too. So this one was just a manifestation of who she was. So, right. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Auntie, for sharing this story. I learned a lot, honestly. And, I just have even more admiration for you and Cromwell and all of your other brothers and family members. I just want to end with, asking you, how can people reach you and maybe to get insight or advice or to support any cause that you're passionate about?
I'm trying to start up a foundation for Gabriella, Sickle Cell Foundation. That will be launched. I had to launch it this year, but I think I'll push it a little further because of all what is going on now with so many things threw me off guard. Yeah. So I'm trying to launch a Sickle Cell Foundation where I actually intend to go back and settle back home. It's just because of the crisis situation. Back home. Because I wanted to get a hydration center where these kids would come and get hydrated. I was already working with some companies for medications for them. It's just a cost that I want to handle. And my mom now adding on to dementia and Alzheimer's, I think I'm going to add that under my plate. So just to help, it's my own little way of saying it has touched me. And how can I help? How can I help my people? I work a lot. Like I said, I'm a doctorate student. I'm a doctorate nurse, a nurse with a doctorate degree. And I've written so many research papers on sickle cell, which I'm trying to research about. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but I'm reading about Alzheimer's to get a better picture of what this disease and the toll it takes on people, and going from the experience that I've had. So what I have in mind, or what I had in mind, is to start a sickle cell foundation back in Cameroon in honor of Gabby. That's my daughter who has sickle cell, because that's all what she had told me. Mommy, how can we help people in Cameroon? I hear they are dying young and all of that. I'm privileged to be in the US. I'm having all these treatments, and they don't have that opportunity. So my husband and I, we have that in mind to go set up something. Just because of these political issues now, it's slowing down a lot of stuff, but that's what we have in mind. Hopefully, by the end of this year or early next year, we're gonna go operational, and I'll let the world know about what our plans are. But if you want to reach me, my number is 313-920-1977. My email address is drmangie2020@gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're going to have that in the show notes as well for anyone who wants to reach out to you. Now, what last words do you have to our listeners before we wrap up the conversation?
Just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to open up. Honestly, I've not opened up my life and cried in front of the camera before, but it's been such an honorable journey for me and my family to have gone through what it was. It's like I said, I'm still in that process of it. We just buried my mom in April. Yeah. And we just got back here. So we're trying to pick up the pieces and try to move on. It is not easy. It's easier to say, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. You feel like a piece of you was taken away. Yeah. And I really feel that void, because my mom lived with me for all those years, and I just see her everywhere in this house. Yeah. But, it's an honor to have taken care of her, to do the things my brothers and I and my family were able to do for her. She was a wonderful person. She died a wonderful person, and I appreciate God for giving her to us, even though I still question why she had to go the way I'm a human being, so.
And that's part of grief. That's part of grief.
I have that anger in me, and every time I think of that 3 years, I just cry. Like my mom didn't have to do that, but it is what it is. I just want to thank you for this time.
Thank you, Auntie.
To be able to share my mom's life with you. I hope it makes an impact, or it touches somebody that is going through the same thing that I've gone through or we've gone through. Yeah. And just be encouraged and don't give up. Yeah. They'll say in Cameroon this thing that God doesn't give you nails or crawl without nails to scratch. So,
right. I've never heard that before.
That He doesn't give you the strength to handle. So give us the strength to handle everything that we went through, or we're still going through. And I miss my mom so much. I still have a picture right there with a candle lighting there every day. I don't know when that will go down, but it's just the memories and the fun times that I had with my mom. If I didn't love my mom, I would have just forgotten her and move on. But she was just a part of me, and I am honored to have been her daughter, and I know she's proud of me for doing what I'm taking care of her. She wanted me to be who I am today, and I fulfilled that promise for her. Unfortunately, she wasn't there to see all the achievements that I've had. Yeah, even in the midst of her health issues, health problems, but I still went through it just to tell her that, Mom, I could do it. And I know she's my guardian angel right now. Without any doubt, I know my mom is watching over me, and I love her so much, and I'll do till whenever I'll meet her.
Yes, thank you so much, Auntie. That was such a great honor that you had for your mom, and you showed your mom as well. And may her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to have this conversation. I really look forward to more conversations with you. It's always a pleasure having conversations with you. There's always something to learn from you. There's always an extra admiration to have for you. So I really want to thank you so much. And like you said, I hope that our listeners learn something from this conversation and also spark the same type of conversations within their circles and check on their loved ones to really see how they're doing, because Alzheimer's dementia is not an easy disease to handle, especially for the caretakers as well. So I want to thank you so much, and I will talk to you on another episode because I know we still have more to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Same here, Auntie. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today. Thank you for listening to our show. If you want to participate in the show or find out more helpful resources, then visit www.livingafricanpodcast.com for more information or email us at hello@livingafricanpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to connect with us on all social media platforms at Living African Podcast. You can also connect with Anyo directly on Facebook or Instagram at Anyo Fambard. Thanks again for listening, and let's not forget to be more understanding and nicer to one another.